I would just like to introduce Dr. Subhrojyoti Bhowmick. So he's the president of KPC Medical College. Vice President, okay. Vice President of KPC Medical College. And rest, sir, I hand it over to you. Yeah, because...
Good afternoon, and it's a very wrong time to come in when we are standing between you and lunch. So we definitely promise you that this is not going to be a very extensive session till the last, as it was the last one. As a professor in pharmacology, you know, this is something which we really always read in books. But what is this pharmacogenomics and how artificial intelligence is changing the dynamics? If I could request people who are not listening to move out of the room so that, you know, we can actually help the other people who want to listen. Okay, so greetings from KPC Medical College, and with my fellow panelists today, we would like to quickly take you through pharmacogenomics. What is pharmacogenetics? You know, way back in 1960s, this particular concept has been introduced during, especially with two major observations, which is that some soldiers developed hemolytic anemia with primaquine, and this was studied by Professor Molutsky in Europe, and some of the patients developed severe apnea with succinylcholine. Now, succinylcholine, if you ever had an operation, you will receive it. You are going to receive it. So you don't know whether you are going to have an apnea, means loss of breathing or not. So Vogel discovered, he developed this term pharmacogenetics. And in 1959, which was around 1960, we actually studied the effect of genetics on pharmacology. So what is genomics? Genomics is a branch of pharmacology which deals with genetics and how genes, all of you are sitting here, all of you, if you take your pills, you know, you're going to differently metabolize it. So that is what this field is all about. And the goal of pharmacogenetics is very simple. We want to maximize the drug efficacy because all of us want safe medications. We want to minimize drug toxicity. We want to predict, you know, the patient population amongst us, the patient population who will respond to intervention. Believe it or not, among the people who are sitting here, if you are giving pantoprazole, some of you will not respond to pantoprazole. You are not going to respond to pantoprazole. And pharmacogenetics is a very important component of new drug development. And why is it so? Because, you know, if you look at the number of prescriptions is increasing day by day. In the year 2021, we had 6 billion prescriptions made across the globe. And if I have a panelist here from the United States, so I'm bringing in the US data here, is that in the United States, they believe 30% of their side effects were prevented by pharmacogenomic testing. 99% of the patients actually have a gene which can alter how drugs act. So in their country, they have their data, and we should say that in our country also we have data for certain specialities, especially for psychiatry and oncology. We have a very senior oncologist sitting here. Dr. Rakesh is sitting here, so definitely he would agree with me. And then also, many of these patients drop out of therapy. Many of you have left therapy because you had side effects. Did you ever imagine why you have side effects? Why the other person who takes this medication does not have side effect? It's probably because your genes actually make you more susceptible, right? So if you look at the drugs, you know, I will give the biggest and the easiest example. All of us have this. Pantoprazole. If you're going to BA Badi or Shraddho Badi, we actually want to eat something and then we know that we're going to pop in a pantoprazole. But in certain cases, you will say, even after popping pantoprazole, some patients will say, BA Badi te giye khilam, pantoprazole khiye gechilam, but it did not act. Is it a spurious drug? Or is it your genomics? That is what you need to ask. The question here is that even if you take pantoprazole, the proton pump inhibitor might not get activated in your body because your genes don't have it. You've been consuming it again and again thinking that this is working. Probably it's not working because we all know that the action of this drug needs to be activated by a gene which is present in the liver, which is CYP2C19. So this gene, if this is a family of cytochrome P450 enzyme, if this is deficient, no matter how many pantoprazoles you pop in, you are not going to get any respite from esophagitis, non-esophageal reflux disorder. Now, every peptic ulcer disease, this we call in medicine, being a doctor, I would say that this is the state disease of Bengalis. This is our national disease. All of us have Bukjala Ombol. So, we actually take this on a very frequent basis. So, think about it. The gene expression is missing. But ever did you get checked for it? No, we never got checked for it. So, how does this help? I'm not going to get into these details, but the first and the last column is important. If you're a normal metabolizer, you don't need high dosage or 40 milligram daily. You probably need to reduce your doses. But if you are an ultra rapid metabolizer, you rapidly metabolize, you probably require 80 milligram, which you've never thought about it because your doctor also did not think about it. And let me tell you, this is a very new concept. Not that new. Of course, this is a concept which, of course, the western and the southern part of the country has embraced because there are labs which are doing pharmacogenomic testing. And of course, the sun rises in the east, but technology comes last in the east. So, east, we have not been able to kind of embrace this so much. So, is pharmacogenomics a reality? Answer is yes. My colleague from oncology will agree. Yes, there are drugs which will differ. Now they have made it more safer. It is more safe to prescribe in breast cancer. Women who have a certain gene, they are going to respond better. They don't have a gene, they are not going to respond better, no matter you spend millions of rupees. In cardiology, in neurology, in infectious disease, there could be a whole day session on pharmacogenomics. I'm not going to get into details. So, AI will play a very important role, and I'm not an AI expert, but I can tell you the kind of genomic data which these labs are. There are a lot of labs in Calcutta, in India. Genome is one of the labs, which is doing, and there's another lab called Haystack Analytics. So they are collecting a lot of Indian human data. Now, if this data is analyzed with respect to gene sequencing, protein structure, metabolic activities, then the computer can actually tell us that what this genomic data is looking in a certain population. Is a drug working, not working? Is a drug going to be designed, not designed? So, AI's marriage with pharmacogenomics is a perfect marriage because the integration of AI into genomics will definitely help patient care and outcome. And we've been talking about personalized medicine. This is another example. So if there are investors sitting here, I understand it's a Bengal chamber, session. And thank you to Subhrojyoti sir for inviting me here. I wish there are investors who are sitting here. There are companies who are sitting here who believe that genomics is here to stay because genomics will talk about one size will not fit all. All our patients, gone are those days that you go to a hospital where you have cancer or you have hypertension and you will be given a single pill. No, it will not happen. So genomics requires clinical integration of data, where something which we are lacking in India because our data is not actually that digitalized. But having said that, India is a land of diversity. Some of our hospitals are completely digitalized. If you talk about private hospital, there are a few hospitals here in the city where entirely digital data is present, and the AI scientists in the state are actually working on it. So I cannot say that India is not doing anything great. India is also doing a lot of good work. Probably state of West Bengal has to gear up a bit because we are probably lagging behind in terms of when it comes to Tamil Nadu or Karnataka. And again, thank the chamber for organizing these kinds of events. So to summarize, I would say precision prescribing is the norm right now, and we cannot get away. Next time you visit a doctor and he says that please take this pill, just ask this question: will this pill work for me? In the senses, do I need this particular dosage? Because there are companies, and I can talk off label, when we are on the lunch, that there are companies in India who are testing you for your cardiac panels. So if you are on a clopidogrel, a common drug which is given after you got a stroke or heart attack, please remember there are many patients who have heart attacks again. Question is, was it a lifestyle or whether they missed a gene which was not making clopidogrel into an active form, because clopidogrel was a pro drug. This is something which even the cardiologists are working on. When we talk to our cardiologist colleagues, some of them believe this is 10% of their clinical population. So this is probably not important, but maybe more research on an Indian context will make this more important. It definitely leads to more improved outcomes and cost-effective care in a country like India. Finally, artificial intelligence, there are companies who are working in artificial intelligence space. They can look at genomic data. They can look at drug designing as well. So thank you very much. I would say that one size fits all was the concept till date. But we all know when we go to pantaloons, we need our different sizes. So that has to be done at the doctor's chamber too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was actually, it raises a question for me, right? So we all know how isoniazid, it works in TB, in tuberculosis, right? So the thing is that precision medicine, we all know that is going to be the future. That is basically going to be the future of the world. But in a country like India, right, you're talking about genomic testing and all. So we all know like the genomic testing, the rates of individual analysis, like it ranges to thousands to lakhs, right? And especially with all those coming like, anti-aging genomic testing and all have also come along with these cardiac things and all. So how feasible it is for us? And one more thing is that being someone from drug delivery, I just want to ask you, say I'm just taking an example for tuberculosis, right? So the thing is that it's not possible for a country like India to produce isoniazid in different variations. How many, what will be the variation range?
So let me answer your both questions. I'll take the first question first. See, pricing cannot be an issue for safety. If we say that we cannot buy a particular helmet because it is it's very costly, then go out on the road and have an accident and die. That's not the answer. Pricing, because India is a country where certain diseases are prevalent. Metabolic diseases are prevalent. So I will give the example of cardiovascular diseases. When cardiovascular diseases happen in patients, so in cardiology, we know that drug clopidogrel is not working. So in that scenario, there are companies I mentioned about. I'm not here to promote any company. Nobody's paying me. Please remember that I'm not getting paid from any company. But my colleague works in a company in Bombay, and she just texted me yesterday night. She said that it is only 7,500 rupees which they take for a cardiac panel. 7,500 divide by 12. If I really see it gives you a panel of what cardiology medications are safer. Clopidogrel, aspirin. You are going to put these patients for a lifelong therapy, and you come to know that this gene is defective. I will raise the kind of dose for them. Question for me, it comes like 7,000 divided by 12 is roughly around what? I'm very bad in mathematics. So it's like what? 12, 7s are 84, 12. 600 rupees. It's not even a cost for a Inox movie hall ticket and popcorn. If we are not able to spend out that much amount of money to know my cardiac panel profile, I rather not go to Inox. That is the mindset change. It has to come. Talk about genome. I mean, we have people here, of course, we have people who are going to talk about the various kinds of gene detection they are doing in oncology. What is the cost of a life? Can you measure the cost of a life? Somebody said Air India crash, 1 crore is the cost of a life. Is it 1 crore for that father who lost his entire family along with the grandchildren? Is it 1 crore or beyond that? We need to ask that if a panel is coming at 12,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees, and I come to know that my genes will support a particular anti-cancer drug and give my loved one some few extra years, I would use it. I'm not saying that to get tested. It's like a very specific testing. And to answer your next question, in terms of tuberculosis, see, the government actually goes by we have not introduced genomic testing in case. I probably would rather take information from you because you've done a lot of research in isoniazid yourself, right? We'd like to hear about that more. But yes, what is the take-home message? That India is 30 different states. The Kashmiris are different from Tamil Nadu people and Bengalis are different from Gujaratis. We are different genomically. We have a common flag and of course we have certain common ethics. Apart from that, all of us are very different genomically, and there is no harm in getting that tested. How we get hemoglobin TC, DC, ESR tested. I'm not saying that every particular individual need to get tested for pharmacogenomics. What I'm saying is when you have a life-threatening disorder like oncology, when you have a life-threatening disorder like cardiology, like rheumatology, for example, there are certain monoclonal antibodies. If you see a rheumatoid arthritis patient, it could be my mother, it could be my loved one, who's barely able to hold a kadhai for making the best food she wanted to make. She's not able to walk. Can I just not do a genomic testing for her to figure out whether certain genes will support the monoclonal antibody, which is few lakhs of rupees? Before I give that particular medication, should I not do that? That's the question. So again, India's isoniazid dosage is basically on the formulation which the clinical trials have shown that the clinical efficacy was achieved in terms of eradicating, I won't say eradicating, in terms of treating tuberculosis. But time has come now to understand that Indians differ in genomics. And the reason I think United States is actually, or maybe other countries are doing it, because their population has become very hybrid. If you look at the UK population, 1 in 4 British citizen is an Indian. If you look in the United States, even with this Trump era, 1 in 5 is an Indian or an Chinese population. So they are doing it to understand that genomics differ. We are all different, yet we need to be safely prescribed.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. One more question I just want to ask.
Wonderful talk, Subhrojyoti. And thank you for acknowledging my presence here. So I'm dealing with a discipline called cancer, and we all know that it's very lethal and very brutal disease. And the margin of error is very minimal, because if you take a pantoprazole for dyspepsia, you can still get away with it, but the margin of error with the onco drug is minimal. So there are patients, majority are stage 4 patients, and the main aim is to actually make them survive longer rather than cure the disease, because stage 4 patients usually don't get cured. One of the best applications of pharmacogenomics is in the discipline of oncology. So he was talking about expensive drugs. We have immunotherapy, which is going to dictate terms in the future. And the cost of immunotherapy schedule is to the tune of 12 lakhs, which is a fortune. Now, there are certain markers called PD1, PDL1, which you need to see in order to prescribe this, to identify who are the patients suitable for these kind of drugs. And the companies actually charge only 14 to 15,000 to identify the PDL1 value. So if you actually shy away from this kind of test, you end up spending a lot of money and you're not going to get benefit. And once the disease progresses, you will not be in a position to take the next line of drugs. So what we insist as oncologists, go for the pharmacogenomics. You might be a poor person, you may not be able to afford immunotherapy, but getting that information is necessary, because you never know, there is a clinical trial going on in some part of the city. So at least you can guide the patient to go to that center, because you know this patient will respond to that drug, and so the patient will get it absolutely free of cost. So do not shy away from pharmacogenomics. This is very essential for lethal diseases.
Thank you, sir. So basically, the lack of awareness and the information is required in that case, right? So, sir, one last question I just want to ask you. There's a very famous diabetic drug, Ozempic, right? It was famous because why Karan Johar, he lost so much of weight. So people are also taking it for weight loss and all. So recently, 2 weeks back in US, it has been 200 million or something. It has been charged, right? Because the patients, 1800 patients, they have complained of stomach paralysis, right? And other things and all. So the thing is that I just want to ask, since we are talking about AI, and I'll be getting into AI also. So what was missing? Obviously, such a reputed company, right? I'm not naming the company. So the thing is that after so much of clinical trials and all, so do you think so if AI, we are talking about US, right? So what was the main lacuna? Where do you think, I'm just asking for your opinion.
So with due respect, I worked in the United States for 3 years myself. I was at Stanford University Hospital. So let me tell you that and again, Dr. Roy should not take this personally, that we believe that everything which goes out in the Western world is absolutely clean, and whatever happens in the quote unquote third world countries is absolutely not clean. It's not correct. If you look at the pharma majors, the top 10 pharma majors, out of the top 10 pharma majors, the top 8 belong to United States. And we are not going to get into the geopolitical, discussion on why they belong and how they kind of, interact with the FDA. One thing is for sure, that clinical trials are done in controlled environment. Clinical trials cannot predict long-term complications. Clinical trials cannot predict that A, B, C, D was seen as a side effect, so there will be no other side effects when the clinicians start prescribing it in a large number of populations. So that's the utility of post-marketing surveillance studies, and that has to be adhered to. It's a regulatory guideline. Now I'm going back to the example you are citing. If these are complications which were known by the company and knowingly you have suppressed it, then you are eligible to get into the rough weather with the regulatory body, and you are supposed to pay a heavy duty fine. But if these are new unsuspected adverse drug reactions, you will get what is known as, you generate a signal, and once the signal is generated over a period of time, if there are repeated signals, then the drug can go off the the approval letter. That has happened in history also. If you see the rofecoxibs and the valdecoxibs, blockbuster molecules, everybody used it. Any joint pain, any knee pain, every other orthopedicians was writing it, only till we came to know that they was causing a large number of cardiac events. So I will not get into this particular example, but yes, if we had artificial intelligence in this, and if we had a proper signal detection method, it could have actually analyzed the data much faster, given signals to both the sponsor as well as to the regulator, and sponsor could have said $200 million. So they should invest in $2 million to get the artificial intelligence tool, rather than try to give $200 million to the US FDA.
All right, thank you. Right. So the thing is that, as it was mentioned, my expertise is basically like on drug delivery. All right. So the thing is that we always, whenever we are talking about a drug, we are just talking about the molecule, but how the molecule needs to get into the body, right? In what amount, via what route? I'm talking about the administration, right? And once it is inside the body, what will happen actually? How it will get absorbed, how it will get metabolized, and how it will get eliminated. And of course, I'm talking about the toxicity also. So in that, I voluntarily take up the in charge of recapitulating all those AI, ML, as well as deep learning. So by now, I think so each and everyone, if I'm giving a paper, all of you, we can write the definitions. And one more thing is that I have seen the slides and the talk of earlier speakers, esteemed speakers. So the thing is that whatever, because in last 2 days, how much I have learned ChatGPT, Gemini AI and DeepSeek and whatever, I don't think so I have learned that in past 6 months also. Because I was just trying to learn. According to me, I think so we all are in the learning stage of AI, right? In drug delivery, we are using machine learning for quite a long time now. But still, I feel we all are in much more nascent stage, and we have to learn because there is no other alternate in coming future. So what we understand by drug delivery, we all know what the drug is there. Right? Say, for example, I'm just citing a very common example, paracetamol. In paracetamol, the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient, is the paracetamol, right? But how it is going to get into the body? Okay? So the thing is that, forget paracetamol. I'm talking about insulin. Why do we need to prick in the body every time? Under the skin. Why? What is the reason? One thing is that. Second thing is that if anyone is maybe experiencing certain pain from angina or heart pain or something. So what exactly we do at home, right? We just take a tablet and we just keep that below our tongue, sublingually. So how all these things have come up? Why not in the case of emergency and all? How these things have come up? These things have come up. I'm sitting up. These things have not come up in one day, right? These things have come up with lot of experimental work in lab. lot of resources have been utilized, lot of time has been utilized, but these things were ultimately successful. We are still working on many of them. Right. Okay, so just imagine what happens, like, if I'm giving 5 to 6 years minimum on this type of study, how the drug is going to be administered inside the body, right? And everything goes on smoothly till in vitro. Before going into this preclinical, what we observed, what we were assuming or what we were expecting out of our study, suddenly one day we realized that no, it is not working inside the body. We all know, like, human body is a complex, like, biological system. So what we are seeing in the in vivo study or in the clinical study, that is not working. So out here, I think so, the AI will come to bridge the gap, right? So already, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the thing is, it's just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes, bear with me. So out here, what I feel, we have to take the help of AI. Okay. We have to take the help of AI. So I'm not going on this repetitive mode. It's all the same because I have utilized ChatGPT for this thing. Right. So machine learning is nothing new. We have been using this software. We have been using already this software in pharma for a long time. Even in my case studies also, I have used that couple of times. What happened? It gives us a lead, right? But the thing is that, again, as I think so, professor from IICB, what he was talking about molecular docking. So the thing is that I was working on oncology, and in that we have developed one peptide, right? Spending lot of money, lot of time, almost 2 years of time. We have developed peptide with the help of peptide experts. And after that, it was something that was replicating, that was against HER, like HER2 positive, this receptors for breast cancer. And everything went smooth on, right? We were able to do the formulation part, bang on, right? After that, we were able to do this in vitro, like cell culture assays and all. Even those results were satisfactory. But what happened? After we went to this in vivo study, right? We did not get the result. So the thing is that out here, AI is like, now I talk about the robustness of this thing. All the softwares, there are many machine learnings and all. So the thing is that we rely on them for molecular docking, peptide, protein binding and all. So who will take who will take the responsibility to develop such systems, right? So I think so, it's the wet lab scientist or the scientists from the domains. We have to give the data, and the AI engineers, they have to, like, make the system. And so that is it. I have used one AI myself. That was for a drug called tofacitinib citrate that is used for rheumatoid arthritis. So the thing is that the toxicity in like 1 or 2 months is quite low. But the thing is that these things are given over a period of 5 to 6 months and at the dose of 5 to 10 mg. So what will happen after 5 to 6 months, what it does as an adverse effect, it will lower down the monocyte count. Your immunity will get lowered. So we tried to figure it out to make it in some other formulation that is much more site specific. At the same time, that will eliminate from your body. So we have got a link, right? We have just using this GastroPlus, what we saw that we can give it by the SC route, under the skin route. So this, I have already published one paper and the experiments are going on. So I just want to just to relate with you all. So I just want to say though the science have advanced so much, the technology have advanced so much, the drug delivery have advanced so much, right? But the thing is that there's an oral peptide. Again, this is also GLP-1. GLP is like glucagon-like peptide. And that is also working on your diabetes only. So it have got a strict instruction. You cannot have more than, first thing you need to have that thing, empty stomach. Second thing is that you cannot have more than 4 ounces of water. Right? So I think so this is so inconvenient for the patients. So we need to work on things as such. Apart from that, there is a drug that is used for muscular atrophy, and the drug and the injections, right? They are given this intertillal route, that is the spinal cord, via the spinal cord, and this is not a one-time dose, right? It needs to be repeated, and it's a lifelong thing for muscular atrophy. So can't we work with the help of AI on something that is where we can patient convenience is the topmost priority of pharma, of doctors, of anyone when we are talking on this platform. So there are many areas to work on it. And if I'm talking, this is the already big pharma companies as well as this AI companies and all. No, we have got this collaboration for Novartis and Microsoft. It goes as such. So this is for the investors. This is the economics, and which we do not understand that much. So one sir, he was asking about the black box. So black box, I'm just not going to repeat it. I'm just going to give a very common example. What happens? Like if it especially applies in the case of deep learning. What will happen if I'm asking the machine something, if I'm investigating something, I am actually getting the results. But how I'm getting the results? The middle part is missing. Okay, so that is actually called the black box of AI. That how I'm getting the result, I'm not able to get that. The reasoning is not there, and obviously, I hope so in near future, people are going to work on this. Again, one more eminent speaker, he spoke about data privacy and all. And sir have spoken about precise medication and all. So just to take away thing is that, like, we are the drug delivery scientists, right? So, and I think so, according to me, that is the real bottleneck, right? So drug molecules, discovering a drug molecules, that is, it takes, as we were discussing, it has been like more than, like last antibiotics were in 1980s or something. So whatever the existing drugs are there, right? How do we deliver them? First thing. And the second thing is, that is very interesting area. With the help of AI, we are actually getting into repurposing of drugs. For example, metformin, right? We are using metformin in oncology also. Lot of research and clinical trials are, not clinical trials, but lot of the preclinical trials are actually going into it. So these things are there. And the thing is that big pharma companies like the one present in this thing, obviously for them to work on novel drug delivery, because obviously they have to sell it. So all the investors in this room, we would just like to, say, please just give drug delivery also a chance, because according to us, molecule is definitely important, but how it is going inside the system is also important. Thank you, sir. So I'm just winding it here. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I think Dr. Ganguly had a question. Yes, we'll wind
Dr.
up
Bhowmick,
after this.
I just had one question, that infertility is a very big problem now.
Yes.
As you know, and you have the AI and ML based prediction from Elon Musk himself, that China's population is going to decline, India's population is going to decline, and Nigeria will become the world's most populous country. So the whole healthcare economics, or the whole economy, will go down. So in 2050 or so, in another 30 years. Now, what are the genomic or genetic or medical interventions that you guys are proposing for? Because you are from medical, so from medical, we are from pharmacy domain, but you are from medical domain. So I just wanted to know how this can be prevented, and what are the solutions you want to give for these kinds of infertility problems, which is a problem already.
So as far as the Indian population declining, I would say that there are multiple reasons. Infertility is one of the reasons, and it's a major reason. Now, why is infertility happening? Is it because of some genetic problem, or is it because of... So one of the commonest reasons for infertility in females, now we know, is a polycystic ovarian syndrome. Is a PCOS, and the women now, lifestyle disorder is one of the major issues that is contributing to polycystic ovarian syndrome. If you look at the use of genomics in terms of polycystic ovarian syndrome, the common drug which is used is metformin. To the best of my understanding, yes, we have done the genomic testing in metformin for infertility is not a very rampant test right now, but because if you tell a gynecologist, can you do a genomic panel for an infertile person for just testing whether a drug will act in this patient or not, they will not agree to it. Because there are other methods of treating this infertile woman, like in vitro fertilization. In that scenario, like what Dr. Rakesh was mentioning, we have to really select which branches of medicine will benefit the most. I had one slide where the slide mentioned there are 20 specialities of medicine which can utilize pharmacogenomics. But in a country like India, where the population is not very rich, I mean, we are economically, evolving over a period of time. If you ask me, top 3 areas where pharmacogenomics will be utilized, number one is oncology. The vote will go to oncology because as the patient population is declining, our oncology, the rate of cancer detection and the cancer patients are increasing enormously in our country. So oncology is one area. The second will be metabolic disorders, especially with respect to cardiovascular disorder. And the final thing where the genomics can actually work is in case of infectious diseases, because there are certain antibiotics which are managed genomically. Like she mentioned about isoniazid. Rifampicin also shows genomic variation. So if in a constrained environment, we need to actually develop our facilities. If you ask me if there is an infertile lady, I would rather prefer to do in vitro fertilization for her, because we have huge infertility clinics in India, one of the best in the world, because you have other countries, patients, medical tourism is actually being promoted by those countries. The patients are coming to India to get their infertility trained here. So if it's an option between which I would choose, these are the 3 main areas where genomics will work really, really handy, and it's already working. So there are labs I mentioned. MedGenome is already doing it. Haystacks is already doing it. There are hospitals which are ordering for patients who are already. So there are, Thakur Kukur Cancer, where Dr. Rakesh is working, they order on a regular basis. They would do it for a gene, whether HER2 positive genes are present in a breast cancer patient or not, because that is going to save the life of the patient. So in that scenario, just having a test, a glorified test, is not important. How important is that test cost effectively in terms of also patient outcomes also makes a difference. That's a very important choice a doctor has to make.
Thank you, Dr. Bhowmick and Dr. Ehsan. It was a nice conversation and a discussion on pharmacogenomics and drug delivery. I request our co-chairperson, Mr. Devoshi Dattagupta, to please be on the dais and present mementos to the speakers. To Dr. Subhrojyoti Bhowmick. Oh, sorry, Subhrojyoti Bhowmick. And to Dr. Iman Ehsan. I request for a group photograph, please.